Hi, I wanted to thank you for tuning in. This is Randy Marcotte at Perfect Video Conferencing, and this is a Yealink Microsoft Teams kit review. I've been asked by our distribution partners and Yealink to give an overview. We've been installing a lot of Zoom rooms and Microsoft Team kits with a number of other manufacturers. We've built our own kits to do it. We were one of the first to actually deploy the Logitech Smart Dock, kind of the larger form factor versus their new Rally base kits. And so the Yealink has come up with a Microsoft Team integrated product. This one they've shipped to me with their link credentials in. So today won't be about the software setup or the management of that. It's all about the out-of-box experience of the things that you're seeing laid out here. I am recording this on a life-size Icon 700 just because of the really great quality of audio, camera quality. We have unlimited access to that product for recording, and so it just makes an easy platform for me to use to show you the other stuff. Obviously, I'm dialed into a life-size bridge too, which is one of the advantages of both Microsoft Teams and life-size. So life-size as a H.323 and SIP-based platform will allow anything else to dial in if you have the dial string and dial credentials, and that's all I did. Is I took the virtual meeting ID at life-size cloud, and then I dialed in via the Yealink unit over to the life-size unit. So wanted to share that. A little bit about my layout too. Wanted to change that a little bit. What you'll see on screen, obviously the cart in front of you is the one I'm looking down at on this right now. You're seeing this kind of screenshots of it. Table full of stuff I'll go through in a minute, but that's the Yealink is off to the TV on the right. And then the controllers really will spend a little bit more time on just for the purposes of the recording. So that explains the layout just a little bit. So what I have in front of me, I'll give you a little bit of the table view. First off, extendable microphone. One of the things in general that I'll say about the Yealink kit that I really like is it's all standard USB or audio cables, HDMI cables, nothing terribly proprietary or magic, so I don't have to worry about extension. There are some cables that are USB that I haven't read deeply into how far they would extend, but I'm going to assume that there's some limitations. So one of the best things that this system comes with is this really great mounting kit. So the right amount of recessing, so you get your this device, there's mounting bracket either on the back of a TV or a wall or underside of a table, and then the actual holding case, which is pretty ingenious. Put it that way, put it this way. The holding case, which actually holds the Nook, and then it's got cable management and some plastic rubberized tension holds. So you mount your kit, you lock it in place, and then you're going to reduce the amount of cable stress. And then a really clean form factor, and then access to a power button. So all of the things that we typically have to control for when we're doing a video conferencing display, Yealink has thought that through. Again, nice place to put the Nook. It's ventilated, it's secure, and it's accessible. So great engineering on that. I think it's one of my favorite things about the entirety of the kit. As far as a microphone goes, there's some expansion pods that you can use. This one's muted because I don't want to get an echo loop. Fairly light feeling, but it is wired. Some of the Yealink kits that we've enjoyed before have had DECT or local wireless technology, and I'm assuming one of the higher end kits has some wireless option as one of the Yealink's specialties. Analog soundbar, obviously you can use this or go into the team setting and use the TV or whatever outbound audio. They just sent this as an option soundbar. We typically will like using a soundbar over any of the TV sound, just because some of the TVs have fairly thin audio levels, and depending on where you put this microphone, TV to microphone can sometimes create a little bit of reverb or loop. Nice thing to avoid when you're trying to get clear crystal audio. So again, the good mount, speaker bar, power, obviously, beautiful mic, touch panel for the control of Microsoft Teams, and I'll actually, that's what I'm showing you here. Light sensor like all of the Teams units. So ultimately, if the user comes in, the tablet's asleep, that will motion sense and wake the system up, like most of the Microsoft Teams kits out there by other manufacturers. And then a camera codec unit. So the compute resource, the Teams is running on the Nook. The camera's got its own mounting bracket, and then there's your speaker. There's the camera. Fairly limited pan tilt zoom range on this particular unit. This is one of the smaller units by design. Huddle rooms, small conference rooms where you get a nice wide field of view, but you're not looking to cover and zoom across an auditorium or a large conference room. The cabling form factor, we'd want to make sure we test for some of the larger conference rooms, because I would wonder, the standard cables are huddle room sized lengths. It looks, we tried a couple of USB extenders with no issues, but we'd want to be careful about extending those. So this kit designed for your 5 to 6 person conference room, nice little huddle room. I'd feel very comfortable mapping this to a much larger conference room, and then making sure that those who want to speak, you move the microphone closer to them, just for the purposes of making sure that the audio is solid. USB cable to hub for content sharing, candidly the only thing that I'm not terribly wild about. So if we were going to use these as a kit, you then have to plan for content sharing to be close to the Nook, and then the cable's close to the end user. So in a huddle room, it's not going to be an issue. This is a 12-foot cable, so plenty of run there. If it's a little longer, may run into some problems. It's just that this is an extra disconnect point. So I would probably go wireless, put a click share into the Nook, use wireless content sharing on a dongle, or quite frankly, just a capture card and a straight run HDMI cable. They've got both HDMI mini out of this thing, and or USB mini and HDMI. We typically will just go, if you're going to actually plug anything in, one HDMI cable and a Liberty adapter instead of all the dongles you need. Those are generally better and more reliable from our perspective. But I really love the kit. It's a nice alternative to on a price point. Yealink makes some really nice devices. I think the best thing about it is the small form factor of the touch panel, and then a couple of positions you can put it in. So a small movable base, so if you want it to not obstruct the conference room, nice low form factor. And if you want it to be a higher profile, go ahead and lift it up. That works out quite nicely. Downside of it, though, quite frankly, is that it is wired. Both Lifesize and Zoom now have wireless control panels via tablets or iPads or Android devices. So I think there's an evolution that might be necessary. I'm assuming all of the Teams units, their touch panels are wired, and I'm assuming there's just a lot of content going between the Microsoft Teams software and the compute resource. So I'm imagining they prefer that to go direct over wired to make sure that it's a more reliable setup. So standard desktop layout, there's your bunch of us dialed in for testing purposes, the ability to mute and show picture-in-picture as you'd want, dialed out to an H.323 bridge, no connection issues, and then really high quality upside down. So you just basically get an onboard keyboard to dial out to whoever you want. And that's what I did here for the purposes of getting it in. Once you're in the meeting, you have options of presenting via the wires. I just went wirelessly into Lifesize. And again, here's the cable that is my least favorite part of this. And that's mostly because our end users sometimes will kick cables and disconnect things. So it's a point of failure there that I would either go wireless with or zip tie the crap out of it and keep it down. But congratulations, Yealink, and getting a very well done design on mounting and cable management. The frame rate that I'm seeing, the packet loss that I'm seeing, minimal in the world of what we've seen on some of the computer resources trying to run Teams. And we've tested this against the Logitech gear, the Crestron gear, the Lifesize calling in, and the Starleaf gear. It's comparable to all of those with actually a cleaner cabling kit. So I'd say for me, some of the other manufacturers win in overall look and aesthetics, but Yealink wins in the layout and cable management. They've thought those through quite nicely, and they should be proud of themselves. So thanks for tuning in, and buy a lot of them from us. We love helping you out with Teams.